So speaking of women's division, they are indeed going to be unifying the women's and the NXT women's tag team titles, which, part of me is fine with it. Like what we were just talking about, like integrating NXT in the main roster. Like it's not a bad idea. It's just who's involved with the integration and the unification is what I have a problem with. So we finally once again see Alba, Fyre, and Isla Dawn because they kind of debuted, but like kind of didn't like a few weeks ago.
Squash match.
Before they could do anything because they went into the ring and Kayla Braxton was going to have some sort of interview with them. Ronda and Shayna decide to come out and gets on the mic immediately and says, the reason why the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships were even created was because of me, and that they're basically the Shayna Baszler commemorative tag team championships, which I was just like, girl, you need to slow down. Then Ronda says that they've been tearing through the division, and right when she said that, I was like, you've had one title defense.
You've had
and that was last week. Like, what do you mean you're tearing through the division? Like, I understand you're trying to hype yourself up and trying to like put yourself on this like pedestal that you're like a dominating tag team. You've been tag team champions for like a week. Like, I think you need to, or 2 weeks. You need to calm down. Like, you're not tearing through the division, but okay. And she says, well, the division isn't big enough for both titles. So Alba and Isla accept the unification. And then they just start brawling. And what I did like about it was it looked like they were going to have Ronda and Shayna just kind of obliterate them, but that's not what happened. We saw Alba and Isla get the better of them, and they ended up leaving, which I thought was an interesting thing because
I loved it.
I did too, because they are trying to make Ronda and Shayna be these like untouchable champions, and that is not something that untouchable champions would do. They wouldn't flee like a brawl or a fight. You know what I mean? So I thought that was interesting because I was like, okay, maybe they will not make Ronda and Shayna the unified title tag team champions, but I think that's what's going to end up happening. You don't think so?
No.
You think they were just placeholder champions?
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
Yes. It's a new era. The era of this, dominant part-time, I'm a big name champion and not a big name wrestler, is over. And you can see that, those two are Triple H's, we'll say Infinity Stones, if anyone's seen that meme. So what I see with this is you have them in a match, and then you have Katana and Kaden. So have them interfere in the match, cost them the titles. Isla Dawn, Alba Fyre win, and then you have a triple threat match for the unified, and then you keep that feud like intercycling until SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know that they'll get
involved,
but I do think it would be a mistake to give the titles to Ronda and Shayna because they don't need that validation as champions the same way that girls that you just brought out from NXT that we haven't even seen like in a real match yet, the way they need it. Because if you kind of bury them in their first official match, it's not great. Because even at least with the match between Ronda, Shayna, Katana, and Kaden, they looked great. Like, it doesn't matter that they lost and it was their debut because they were able to do basically whatever they wanted in that match. And so it's not going to hinder people's perception of them or their impression of them, So, but we haven't really seen anything from Alba and Isla. So I feel like they need this more than Ronda and Shayna do. Plus, like, yeah, Alba and Isla are intimidating, but they don't seem like unbeatable the way that Ronda and Shayna do.
No, absolutely.
So, like,
absolutely.
Yeah.